Good morning, everyone. We're going to do something special today, and the choir is doing a prelude. We thought, since the service is about sort of the interconnectedness of trees and the forest, there's this wonderful piece called For the Future Around, that it goes, planting trees early in spring will make a place for birds to sing in time to come. How do we know? They're singing here, they're singing there now. There is no other guarantee that singing will ever be. So that's the interconnectedness of things. And then, so Malcolm Daglish, who wrote the music, decided to make it around, since it's about, around is sort of like an infinite circle of interconnectedness. Now you can, thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Kathy Putnam, and I'm a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church. I especially want to welcome any visitors or newcomers to our church and call your attention to a special note for you. Welcome guests and newcomers on the back side of your order of service. I'd also like to welcome those of you attending online. The lyrics to the hymns and all elements of the service may be found on the live stream screen, and a complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email or on the church's website. Usually, an in-person Sunday social follows our service, but this Sunday, everyone is invited to celebrate Glenn Murbach's 20th anniversary as music director of our church. It will take place in the community room in the Jones Building right after this service. And if you'd like to write a note, a special message to Glenn, you may do so at a table in the courtyard. So now, if you haven't done so, please turn off or silence any cell phones so we can maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. This morning, our Share the Plate donations benefit Habitat for Humanity, and Glenn Davis will come to tell us more about it.
Good morning. I return today for Share the Plate, helmet in hand, to speak on behalf of Habitat for Humanity. Founded in 1976 by Millard and Linda Fuller on a farm outside Americus, Georgia, and its growth stimulated by the volunteer work and encouragement of Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, Habitat has today volunteers working year-round in all 50 states and in 70 countries worldwide. Our organization in Orange County, there's a great organization in Durham County as well, leads in many ways. For example, we've been among the first communities to install solar panels where applicable given geography. And this year, we formally began building in September one of the largest habitat projects in the country. We will build 102 homes on a single large site on Sunrise off Weaver Dairy Road from Charles House. We'll be building on that site 25 homes a year. So we're in need not only of funding, but in terms of more volunteers. It's shared with a middle-class building project of 132 homes on the same site. So it'll be a mixed community with community resources of all kinds, including a splash pad for children. Our community church partnership with Habitat includes a project on the annual day of service this year, as well as a regular project on Saturdays. This year, my wife and I have worked at Gaddis Court on Roberson Street in Chapel Hill, although since September is when the volunteers started working at Weaver Grove, and we've been working regularly there. Church members participate in projects all over Orange County on a regular basis, not just the Saturday crews that have a large number of volunteers from different corporations and groups, but also the interfaith one that the Unitarian Church contributes to as well as Wednesday and Saturday crews that are regular crews. We collect Share the Plate funds twice a year. This is the second for the year. The money we collect assists Habitat in many ways, from construction and repair to financing mortgages for new owners, supporting the creation of affordable homes through donations and sweat, and working beside new owner families in our communities. It's enormously satisfying, and I encourage you to support our local efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, Morning Has Broken, on page 38 in the Gray Hymnal. Listen to the words of Mary Oliver's poem, Sleeping in the Forest. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone on the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars but my thoughts. And they floated light as moths among the branches of the perfect trees. All night, I heard the small kingdoms breathing, who do their work in the darkness. All night, I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better. Come, let us worship together. You'll find the words for our chalice lighting in your order of service, and if you wish to do so, please join me in reading them. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation, as we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life.
appear high over us, pass in the sky. Closest, abandoning is in love asleep, holds them to their way. Clear in ancient faith. And we pray not for new heaven or earth, but to be quiet in heart and in eye.
We pray not for new heaven or earth, but to be quiet in heart and in eye. And we pray not in heaven or earth, but to be quiet in heart and in eye. And we pray not in heaven or earth, to be quiet in heart and in eye.
And we pray not for heaven and earth, but to be quiet in heart and in eye. What we need is here.
This is the point in our service where we take time to honor the joys and sorrows of the community. First, so I'd like us to take a moment and acknowledge the extreme violence going on in the world today. All the human beings that are being affected by this violence. And I ask that we hold in our hearts the people of Israel and Palestine, and we keep them in our prayers. If we can just take a moment of silence together. Thank you. I'd like to invite anyone who has a significant personal joy or sorrow to come down, place a stone in the water, say your name, and in a few words, share your joy and sorrow with the community.
My name is Kathleen Farinola, and I have two very strongly related joys. The first is this wonderful church community that so generously and creatively supported the church auction, making it a wonderful success. It ended yesterday, and some of the results are still coming in. I know things were still being rebid and sold this morning, but as of yesterday afternoon, we had exceeded the budgeted goal, and we had raised more than $21,000. So I wanted to, that is a great joy. And related to it is my second joy, which is that I got to work with a wonderful group of people on this. The unseen person, the technological wizard behind all of this that you haven't seen as much is Joan O'Brien, who has kept all of your donating and bidding straight. And it was just unbelievable. And then there was also Rachel Rose, who always made sure that the information we sent in was properly transmitted to all of you at the right time. And Susan Blanchard, who was the previous chairperson and mentored me through a lot of the early stages of this, actually right till the end. And Reverend Tom, who supported some of the crazy ideas we came up with, which leads us to, of course, the unforgettable Mary Beth Powell as our white rabbit.
Good morning, I'm Susan McDaniel, and Wednesday was National Coming Out Day for LGBTQIA questioning people, and I realized that I came out 47 years ago. And I invite anybody who's here who identifies as LGBTQIA questioning to stand if you would like to.
Good morning. My name is Eric Bannon, and last Sunday my son Zane turned 18 years old. Now the corollary to this is that my wife Luann and I have survived 18 years of parenting.
Good morning. My name is Amber Brown. I'm dropping a stone for concern. There's a family in my son's daycare that it's a mom fleeing domestic violence with her 3 children, and they're experiencing homelessness right now. And they are like on all the lists of the community support, but the lists are long, and that's so troubling. So they're going through a big struggle right now, and I just want to keep them lifted and hope that they get off the list soon, and this ends the struggle for them, well, part of the struggle for them, so if y'all could keep them lifted.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Dean, and I have 2 joys. I am an English language teacher, and I do family engagement at New Hope Elementary. And for the first time in quite a few years, we got back to having our in-person Festival Latino on Friday, and it was a beautiful celebration of the Latino culture, and it was so much fun. The other joy is this church community and the children and youth programming. My mother-in-law, Kathy Putnam, kept inviting us here, and it wasn't until during COVID when we really needed a touch point in the community that we started coming regularly. And our son didn't get involved until high school. He's a senior now, Levi, and has done every program available and is now working in the children's ministry with kiddos, and it's just been wonderful to see how much this has helped him to like connect with youth and just like be who he is authentically as the super cool human that he is. Thank you.
Hi, a close friend of mine, her 13-year-old daughter ran away from home last weekend, and the Carborough police picked her up and took her to the psych ward. So I've been thinking a lot about their family. I hope you'll say a prayer for them.
So if you'll join me in holding in your hearts milestones, birthdays, celebrating our identity, who we are, sharing that with our community. We celebrate this community for what it gives to one another. We take some time to hold in our hearts those whose families are in conflict and those who are struggling right now. Thank you.
I invite you to join with another prayer of meditation. Spirit of life, we come bringing the joys and sorrows of our lives, those spoken aloud and those in our hearts. Help us to be compassionate toward each other and toward ourselves. We're grateful for the landscapes of grace in our lives, for the joys that lift us up, and for the lessons that lead us on. When we are brought low by anxiety and adversity, show us the hidden wells of love we can tap into. When we mourn for a world filled with cruelty and greed, remind us that resilience is in our bones. May we live not by our fears, but by our hopes, that we may walk with courage into this coming week, trusting that there is a presence beyond our knowing and a community that nourishes us. Amen. Our meditation hymn is number 4 in the gray hymnal, I Brought My Spirit to the Sea.
Our reading today
is a piece by the Reverend Teresa Ninian Soto. You are a house of worship or an aspen. Your body, your spirit are the ever-growing aliveness for which the world is calling. Sometimes your leaves may quake. It's understandable. The world, no. Wait, your neighbors and your kin are in distress. And the bark on your trunk may feel thin when storms come. Wind pushing and pulling at the very same time. But beneath, there's a part of you that is always greening. Deeper still, the roots that keep you connected, alone and together. Our roots entwine and tangle. They nourish. They hold steady. We accept that we are individuals. It's a blessing. But we can also embody the certainty of aspen trees, so connected that they become a marker of that which cannot be destroyed, but instead remains, regenerates, and restores.
Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs and body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please point your camera at the QR code on the back of the order of service and tap the banner that appears, or there's information on the church's website. If you're writing a check, make it out to the community church and write STP on the memo line. Today, our generosity extends beyond our walls to support Habitat for Humanity. We'll now receive the morning offering.
Good morning. You might be surprised to know that my sermon topic has something to do with trees. Today we're going to talk about the forest, and you might wonder what my inspiration was, but you just have to look around this beautiful sanctuary. Forests are considered sacred to cultures all over the world. Some are thought to be enchanted with fairies and sprites. Others have mischievous animals. Some have ancestors that are wise. Dark forests are thought to hold witches and ghosts. The oldest stories tell of deities and their relationship with trees. Trees of transformation, trees of life, and trees of death. So what is it about a forest, a collection of trees, that brings us so many mysterious places in our imagination? And why is it that the older the forest, the more mysterious? And not just mysterious, for many, the forest is a spiritual liminal space, doorways to knowledge and power. I'd like to tell you a personal story. It was about an encounter in a very ancient forest. I was with my husband at a scientific conference that happens every year in a resort town in Japan called Kinosaki. This town is famous for natural hot springs, and there's beautiful traditional hotels. There are lantern-lit streets and little bridges over a stream. And there are bathhouses fed by natural hot springs. I always enjoy going, but I feel a little isolated there. Like many of you, I like to go to church, especially when I'm in a strange place and I feel alone. There are very few UU churches outside of the US. So when I'm traveling and I need spiritual communion, I go to the forest. And this is something that I have done since I was a small child. When you go past the center of Kinosaki, there is a staircase, and it leads up into a giant cypress forest in a mountain. At the beginning of the staircase, there are neatly spaced concrete steps and handrails. As you ascend higher and higher, the stairs become less maintained. First, they become tidy stone, then less tidy, and higher. I think they become too hard to maintain. They become slippery and uneven. I've climbed these steps before, but I always stop when the stairs look too wobbly and dangerous. This day I had a little extra pep, so I thought I would keep going. I kept climbing higher and higher until I experienced something I have never experienced before. I can only describe it as the forest taking a breath. It was an audible inhale and exhale. I experienced it with the entirety of my being. I had no words for what had just happened. I was so overwhelmed, I began to panic. I also questioned my sanity a little. Part of me wanted to climb down immediately, but something else, something deeper, told me to go one step higher. And when I went around this little curve, I found a shrine carved deep into the stone. It was ancient. When I touched the cold stone, I realized something. Other people put that shrine there because they had had a similar experience to me. I wasn't just losing my mind. I had experienced something sacred that others have been experiencing for centuries. I had experienced something of the deity, something of the spirit, or something that the Japanese call kami. This kami is the sacred spirit of nature and ancestors, and I had just felt it. I then felt the need to sit down, and again, 2 steps higher, there was a stone bench just underneath a giant cypress with the roots holding into the mountain. And I could rest my head on those roots like a pillow. I sat there for some time and I knew I was not alone. I was part of an experience shared throughout time. I could feel myself as an interconnected part of the universe in a much deeper way than I had before. And I sat there for some time, and then I very carefully descended down those slippery steps. And I started noticing there were other shrines carved into the mountain. How many other sacred moments had I missed? What didn't I allow myself to experience? As I entered the town, I started to notice more and more little shrines. This entire town, with its ancient forest, built on hot springs that reached down to the core of the earth. It was all sacred. I could feel a sense of spirit everywhere. After this, my mind was reeling, and I needed a nap. After my nap, I thought to myself, had I really just experienced something spiritual, or was there a more reasonable explanation for what was going on in that forest? This question brought to mind a service that my friend John Pollock gave at my home congregation, the Unitarian Society of New Haven, many years ago. It was a really unusual service, and some people were confused, and I walked out. I loved it. It was based on a book called The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. And the book explores what trees feel and how they communicate with each other. How many of us ever considered what's actually happening underneath the forest? Natural forests are superorganisms. According to Wohlleben, there's an interconnection among trees. They live in families and communities. They're linked through a complex root system under the soil to a hub or a mother tree. That mother tree is usually the biggest in the forest. And those mothers will nourish an entire network of trees. But they actually give more nourishment to their own offspring, like some of us. They are able to produce more sugar than they need, which they provide to fungi. And the fungi produce thousands of little threads to absorb the sugar. In return, the fungi provide the trees with nutrients from the soil. This network creates water and nutrients for seedlings. Trees experience pain. They feel it when their leaves are nibbled, and they suffer when their young are cut down. Families of trees that are allowed to grow together are healthier. Most that are transplanted and raised alone die very young. What we learn is that in a natural forest, trees form deep communities, not just animals or humans like some of us may have assumed. Trees need strong communities to be healthy and happy so that they can live their full lives. It occurred to me that both my friend John and his wife Linda, who was our director of music for 45 years, they served as mother trees in my home congregation. They each led programs that nourished the church community and well beyond. John has since passed, but the programs that he developed continue to live on in our community. We humans need community. Some of us may choose to try to live as independent individuals, but this is often difficult. We have special gifts, knowledge, and talents. And by sharing these gifts, we're able to enrich each other's lives and provide a more complex and healthy existence. No one person is responsible for everything. We can divide tasks, share resources, help care for children, share stories, and make each other laugh. In other words, make life have meaning together. We can also provide protection and support in times of scarcity illness, and trouble. It's easy to appreciate how much we need each other when we are in crisis. A church community can help us provide for each other on a much larger scale, too. We create deep, far-reaching networks of support and care through our internal groups and our social justice outreach. Does this mean then that a church is a place where we come together primarily to build connections and networks to support each other? Or is it a place to gather, to experience some aspect of spirit or the divine together? Can we hold both at the same time? I can tell you that I actually felt a church breathe once. It was when I had just attended the first official service of the season. I had just arrived in Chapel Hill. It was August of 2023. In that service, I heard the community take a sacred breath. Close to 400 people inhaling and exhaling in unison, blowing out a birthday candle. A sacred spirit of community, supported and nurtured by multiple generations, caring for each other, loving each other, protecting each other, and reaching out with a complex, almost infinite number of programs and initiatives for the betterment of others in the world. This was a profound experience for me, and it deepened my understanding of what a church community can be. Maybe this church is part of a spiritual superorganism, able to reach and grow beyond what is traditionally expected of a church community, able to model and teach other communities how to work together, listen to each other, and love one another. Not everyone shares our vision for the world. It's important that we greet all living beings with the same offer in love and acceptance that we share with each other. That we offer nourishment to those that may seem very, very different from us. The seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, invites us to see ourselves as a small piece of the whole. Not just ourselves and our communities, not just our nations, not just our species, and not just those things that are living now. To see ourselves as a part of something so much greater, connected to all living beings on this planet, those that have come before and those who should have an opportunity to come after. And if you're like me, maybe a little respect for those things beyond the organic material of the world, an appreciation for the magic and the mystery. I don't know if I will ever understand the full nature of what I experienced in that ancient mountain forest in Japan. I would like to believe it was a combination of the life force of nature, the spirit of those who had come before me in that space. I'd also like to think I could hear a collective voice from those trees just for me. Forests are individual trees, held together by a complex root system. Once those systems are destroyed, they cannot just be replanted. It takes decades, if not centuries, for new organic growth to take root and the system to begin anew. We rely on healthy forests to sustain a stable environment on this planet. They now rely on us for their continued existence. Humans are just as complex. Our communities are just as fragile and as precious. Once torn apart, we cannot just be superficially stuck together in some artificial configuration. It's imperative that we protect each other, nourish each other, hold on to each other. Together, we can weather many, many storms. So let's hold each other in love. Our closing hymn is number 1064, Blue Boat Home. And if you'll please stand, either in body or spirit as you're able.
The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service, and if you wish to do so, please join me in saying them. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now we have a chance to thank all those who contributed to making our service so special this morning. Please join in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service, and as you're comfortable, you may hold your hands out or cross them over your heart. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom. We'll meet again, we'll meet again. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you.